As someone who's done a lot of ego lifting in the past, I can tell you that it's absolutely not worth it. You can and will ruin yourself from a mental and physical perspective. Let's establish something. Using atrocious form, swinging weights around, performing exercise that can potentially hurt you, using weights that are clearly inappropriate, are not giving you better gains. We already know this. So why do you do it? To satisfy that emotional, short-term gratification. You want the PR in that given moment. Maybe you're craving that extra rep or two, and then you throw out your back to complete the exercise. Well, what are the consequences? Like I said, you're not making better gains, but secondly, you increase the risk of injury for no goddamn reason. There's literally no point. Sure, on paper, you have your new 10 rep max. Congratulations, no one gives a fuck. Next day, your body is hurting when you wake up in the morning. Next thing you know, your shoulder's bothering you, your lower back hurts, and now you gotta take a deload. Or next time you do max effort work, you instantly get snapped up because now overuse took place. It finally hit you. So the problem is that you believe you can get away with it. You believe you're indestructible because you've gotten away with it so many times, not understanding that it's the long term. We're not invincible. And unfortunately, many people learn the hard way by actually getting a really bad injury. Next thing you know, they're out of the game completely, or you see the infamous comeback. Some people succeed, they surpass their previous selves, but only with very intelligent programming and completely cutting off the ego lifting. You don't fuck around at that point. And I can tell you this, as you become more advanced, you need to get smarter. There's absolutely no way around this. If you want to maximize your natural gains, you have to learn about proper programming. It's not just about hard work, like I see in the fucking comment section. I see some dudes saying, oh, just do 3 sets of 8 to 12, induce linear progression, eat a lot of food, rest. Guys, that won't work forever. If you want to hit your peak potential, you need to mix things up. You have to use varying percentages, different rep ranges, different exercises, attacking your weaknesses. There's lots of things you can do, but I recommend concurrent periodization, right? And when you're training in a smart way, you have to cut out all the bullshit. You can't be fucking around with all this junk volume. That's a form of ego lifting in itself. You can't be doing the same exercise all the time knowing that you can potentially develop an overuse injury. You can't be compromising your form if it calls for full range of motion and doing half reps. Unless it's part of that program built into it successfully, like progressive range of motion, all you're doing is lifting with your ego. And you're not getting better gains, so why the fuck do you do it? At the same time, you'll often fail lifts with this approach. You're teaching yourself to fail. Listen, you shouldn't be failing lifts in your training. That should happen once in a blue moon. It's because you hit your 1 rep max. You're clearly above 90%. You get the PR, but then you decide to be cocky. Oh, let me add another 5-10 pounds, and you fail the fucking lift. For no goddamn reason, you just wasted your time. Now you impede your recovery even further. And in some cases, you get snapped up during those failed attempts. So stop messing around, is what I'm telling you here. Don't think, oh, this time I disregarded the form. Fuck it, I'll take a chance. Because you strengthen the neural pathways associated with risk taking. And it's the accumulation, like I said at the beginning of this video, that will eventually harm you. And that's when you realize that, damn, this was a mistake. Because now there's the rehab, now there's all kinds of bullshit that could have been avoided in the first place. And this is also why, by the way, I'm a big believer of maximized programming. You want to prevent injuries while getting the best strength and size gains long term, not going backwards, which is all too common nowadays as people get more advanced. And then the final thing, which I kind of touched upon previously, is the whole mental aspect of it, like failing, risk-taking, and then validation seeking. That's essentially what you're doing here. You're in the gym, you know that people are watching you, so it's like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to break my form just so I can get this extra rep or two. Or maybe you want to record yourself for Instagram or YouTube. And maybe the angle at which you're filming at, they can't really see the fact that there was some breakdown going on. So you get away with it, you post it, and now people are validating. You say, man, you're so strong. I can't believe you did all those reps. And you feel great. But it's for the wrong reasons. You end up becoming a validation seeker, and now we have a whole host of other problems. You might end up in those gym fail videos. For some, you might not care, but I'm sure some will be bothered by that, especially if it's getting millions of views or whatever. So that is a little factor, right? But also, like, you stop lifting for yourself. Because you're going to do whatever it takes to get that hit of validation, to get those extra likes. You'll get hurt just to impress someone that, truthfully, let's be real, guys, don't give a fuck about you. People don't want to hear this, but it is the truth. And I know this because I see what happens to guys when they get hurt. People stop following them. They're going to feel sorry for you. They might follow you for a little bit longer, but then they see that your numbers are all shit, and you're constantly trying to rebuild to something that maybe you won't reach again. And that becomes your downfall. Now, some individuals do surpass their previous selves. We've seen some examples like that right here on YouTube, and that's fantastic. And I really applaud those individuals, especially if they didn't get hurt through ego lifting. Sometimes it's out of our control, or rather, it was just an accumulation that it was unexpected. So let's not put the blame game necessarily, but of course, let's take responsibility for our own actions and prevent ourselves from becoming these short-term gratification monsters from people who really don't care about us. So I think it goes back to focusing on the long-term journey. That's the most important thing. Getting smarter with experience and understanding that the natural game is a slow route. And doing all this ego lifting is definitely not a shortcut. It's a short-term PR for that given moment. It feels good. You like writing that down. You like showing the world on Instagram or YouTube that you succeeded. And I totally get that. Trust me, I've been there, done that. But as I talked about in this video, there's a lot of physical and mental consequences of going down this path. And in the end, the net result is not worth it. So please keep this information in mind. I really tried to convey this message in a clear way. If you have any questions about ego lifting, just ask in the comment section. Or if you have any feedback on how to prevent it or some stories that you might have so guys don't do it themselves, let's hear it, man, because I just want the best for you all. I want you to hit your peak status while avoiding all these negative consequences.